Hi, mamas, and welcome to the CoronaMama Zoom Room. This show is brought to you by the Maui Mama magazine. And this show is meant for you, mamas. We're here to help you express, connect during this COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic time. It's so important to connect. I'm Angeline Chu Longshore.
I'm Malika Dudley. Thank you so much for joining us. This show is for Maui moms, by Maui moms, and of course, a big thank you to Maui Mama magazine, as usual, for bringing this to you and helping us to connect with you. So as usual, we start the show with actions of aloha, then we're gonna roll into our topic of the day, which today is unemployment. It's a pretty big topic, but we're gonna try to unpack that as much as we can, and we will end the show with our challenge, which is the hashtag Healthy at Home Challenge. Thank you to all the mamas that submitted their entries. We have a really cool giveaway and we will announce the winner at the end of the show. We want to start as usual with our relaxation exercise. So first things first, make sure you relax your shoulders, unclench that jaw, and take your tongue off the roof of your mouth. Those three things just help so much. And what I'm gonna add on today is now we're gonna clench everything, okay? So you're gonna just and release.
Oh, that feels so good.
Feel better?
I never know how much I need that till I do it. So good. Today we have Nicole from Maui Rapid Response. She has been doing work in the community for a long time, but now because of this pandemic, there's a greater need for people who have never needed assistance before. So let's bring in Nicole. Hi, Nicole. Welcome to the CoronaMama Zoom Room.
Hello, aloha.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you both.
So you're with Maui Rapid Response. Tell us what that is, how it came together, and what you guys do and how it is being affected by this whole pandemic situation.
Yeah, so prior to COVID, there were a handful of nonprofits that were servicing the homeless, like the basic needs of the homeless on Maui. My nonprofit is called Chili's on Wheels, and we've been serving vegan food weekly for several years, directly to homeless in Kahului. And then Maui Rescue Mission, at one point Share Your Mana, just individual volunteers, just people in the community that go out and help the people around them, or the homeless around them. And prior to COVID, we had all been talking and trying to figure out how best to collaborate and support each other. And COVID fast-tracked that collaboration big time. So it actually gave us a way to figure out how we could each be our own nonprofit, our own individual service, while also sharing our resources. And so we have now a shared space where we are able to take in community donations. And our goals really are to just provide for the basic needs of those that are unsheltered, or on really any vulnerable population, and to shorten the bridge between short-term needs and long-term care, and just be there with people through that process.
Have you seen an increase in the need? You know, our show's about unemployment, and
Right.
know how many people are unemployed, and that Maui County has the most unemployment of any county in the state. So what are you seeing? Can you tell us a story?
Yeah, I have so many stories, it's going to be hard to choose. I think in April, we started to see a lot of people that had kind of unofficial jobs, right? Jobs that wouldn't even, like it wouldn't, you can't apply for unemployment. It's, that, and we saw a lot of people and a lot of single moms in those spaces, or maybe they were doing a work trade and they lost their housing, and they lost their job, which then meant that they lost their housing. And so we started to see them on the streets in April. And then in May, it was a lot of people that were in unofficial housing, not just unofficial work, but unofficial housing, that there's not really the legalities behind wherever they were staying. And so they lost their housing and they were out on the streets, and they may or may not have a job. And really, I think another thing that we're seeing too is just the sheer amount of food. People are making decisions between rent and food. And so we've spent a lot of time supporting the structures that were already there for food distribution. And it's wonderful to see that and see people step in, because it definitely, the decision between buying food and actually I know quite a few people that even just right now, and just a lot of moms deciding, do I even have the gas to drive to a distribution line and sit in a line of 800 cars? And so that's really the population that we're serving, are the ones that really they don't have the gas to get there, where they're immobile, and so we take it to them, and provide those basic needs.
Wow, since you're a collaboration of many groups, it's would make sense that you have so many different abilities to help people in so many ways. And so I had read on the Facebook post that you were also helping people with the, navigating getting their stimulus check, getting plane tickets, as you said, like finding a place to live. And
Yeah.
so that collaboration sounds like it's really helpful at this time for people.
It is. It is. It's something we'd always talked about having like a mobile resource center, and this just fast tracked it. And we've had so many volunteers that have come in, and so they might not have training and outreach. Like, I have a background in that, and I can navigate how to sit next to somebody that's in trauma, but they might have a computer and a hotspot, and they understand how to get through the stimulus, and so they can sit there while we're at our the Maui Rescue Mission, one of our partner nonprofits, does showers 4 or 5 days a week. And so that has become like a meeting place where we can do deeper work. The SNAP, it was such a big win to have the SNAP application go online rather than be just a 17-page printable thing. So, and then we get them to the people that provide housing. If a person has like the stimulus check actually helps several people deposit to be able then to get in. And so they just went through, we helped them get on Craigslist and move through that system. And then those that don't have the background, we get them into family life in the shelter and help them move through that process, and the people that are designed to do the long-term care and transition into housing.
That's great. Thank goodness we have people like you guys doing these actions of aloha to help our community, especially during this time when the need is so great. It's just, Thank you so much. Before we go, why don't you tell us how people can help?
Sure. I think the thing that I really wanted to say to you guys too is the concept of the collective really is this, like, that's all of us. It is this very mom thing, right? It is like, for us, we are rebuilding our systems of care, and that's really what we're holding. And so we thrive on people coming in and out as their lives move up and down, and that's volunteers, that's the people we serve, that's ourselves when we're burning out. And so that we're stumbling through it because we're brand new in the collective space, but we're getting there, and it's really wonderful as the community steps in to donate their things. We post a needs and a no needs list at least twice a week, and we do that based on what there's many times like a hotel has donated shampoos, and we just don't have space for more shampoos that week. That's why we say a no need. We definitely need volunteers in our hub. We are starting to train other volunteers to do more advanced things like a stimulus check, which is kind of fading out because most people have gotten that. But we also are doing lots of SNAP, and we are developing a mobile resource with all of Maui County resources that we can do on the spot, on the street. So just reaching out. My personal email is just maui@chilisonwheels.org. You can get us through Facebook. For Maui Rapid Response, that's a collective.
I know you have lots on your plate to do, so where are you zooming off to now?
It's actually my day off.
Oh, awesome.
I can count the days off that I've had in the last, I think this is week 15 or 16, I don't know for us, but we started really like right when everything started, all of us went into rapid response. And so, I mean, for me, this is probably actually, I know this is my 6th day off since all this started. And I'm thankful for that. And I might even take tomorrow off too.
Zoom off to take a nap, read a book, just relax. You know, we need to recharge in order to really respond, right? So we're happy that you have a day off and you gave part of your day to us.
Of course, of course.
Yes, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So nice to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Well, we are just so lucky to have people in our community who just come forward with, you know, just such a great heart to help everyone and that coordinated effort.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually met Nicole before. She runs Chili's on Wheels, which is a vegan, well, they feed the homeless and they make vegan food.
Wow.
You never think of that, but there was actually a need for that. There was a gap for those people that are vegan and unsheltered, and they filled that gap. So, you know, she's just great.
Incredible. Yeah.
Should we just roll into our topic now?
I think we should.
All right. Well, our topic is a pretty big one. Like we said earlier, unemployment. Clearly, this is impacting a lot of people. It looks like Maui, from the latest projections I'm hearing from people, we could get up to 40% unemployment.
Wow.
We're at about 37.
So it keeps rising.
Yes. And the last I checked, Hawaii was the highest in the nation. And out of Hawaii, Maui is the highest in the nation. So this is not a small problem. This is a very, very big problem. This is a lasting problem. This is impacting people in so many different ways. I know you and I have been impacted. Mm-hmm. You want to tell people how you've been impacted?
Yes, it's really been an interesting time for us. My husband has a business, and so there's been no business during this time for him, and for me either. I mean, just as soon as everything happened, you know, everything shut down. So I had to go on unemployment. He had to apply for the PPP. There's a lot of confusion around how these things work. I mean, we never had to do this before, as many of you probably never had to either. So just navigating that is confusing. And it was really hard because I, at first, was denied for unemployment. Mm-hmm. And then I had to do the PUA, the Pandemic Assistance.
Unemployment assistance. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so finally that came through, which was such a relief. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's like getting on and doing it and knowing how to do it and calling. And then as a business owner, it's a whole nother thing to have all those people that you're responsible for and how to navigate that. Mm-hmm. So I know that Jessica as someone who has that same issue of dealing with a business.
Yeah, I'll tell my story after we talk to her then. So why don't we roll right into getting Jessica on the line. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Malika. How are you?
Hi, Jessica.
Good, good. This is
Hi.
Angeline.
So good to see
Hi.
you all.
I know which way, which Brady Bunch way.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, so my name's Jessica Reedy. I'm the owner of Legree Maui. We're a boutique fitness studio that specializes in the Legree fitness method. A lot of people sometimes compare it to Pilates on steroids because you'll see the machines there kind of like a big version of a megaformer. But when you actually get into the workout, you'll find it's quite intense. But it's really fun. We have like really good playlist that goes to it. All of our girls are really encouraging and supportive. And the best part of all, you'll find super quick results for building those long, lean muscles that everyone's trying to go for.
Where is your business located?
So we're located in Wailea. We're in the Wailea Gateway Plaza, kind of just right across from Monkey Pod on the second floor there.
Okay, and you're a mommy, so tell me about being a mommy.
So me and my husband, we have 3 children. We have a 6, a 4, and a 1-year-old just turned last weekend 1. So very busy on the home front as well. And now without school, it's just kids all the time.
Intense young ones. Wow.
Yeah.
You look sane.
I have a babysitter right now, so.
Right. Our topic today is unemployment, and there are just so many different experiences when it comes to this coronavirus and how people are experiencing unemployment. We are getting a lot of experiences from people who have been unemployed, but we wanted to get the perspective of a business owner. So why don't you just take us through the whole story?
So as it was kind of starting, I feel like I'm more of a worrier about it all. So I was kind of really worried. I didn't know how prevalent the virus was going to be here, kind of coming into the lockdown. So I think we actually closed the studio maybe 5 days before we were like officially needed to be closed. Just to kind of out of abundance of caution for our staff, for our clients, for us being in there trying to keep it clean and just not really knowing. And then we were shut down. So it was definitely stressful. You know, I wanted to keep our girls employed, but being a small business that just started, you know, we couldn't be paying people while we're not teaching classes. And then for a while, kind of played with the idea of doing online fitness classes, but so much about the Legree method is being on those machines. And plus having the 3 kids at home, I just really had no time to try and invest into doing the online workouts. So then we actually were able to get the PPP loan. So that's been super helpful now for us, you know, having not had the income for the 3 months, being able to use that for future payroll, some of our rent expenses. That's been really good. And then all the girls were everyone was really excited to come back. I think now that we kind of know what our numbers are currently, everyone feels pretty good about being back in there, not as concerned about contracting the virus. And just being happy to be back, kind of doing some regular scheduled activity, seeing our clients. Everybody's so happy to be back and really enthusiastic and supportive to be in the space. So it's really nice to have the kind of regular day-to-day routine that we were used to, but then it's so weird to kind of look at the rest of the country and see that it's still so weird. So, yeah.
It sounds like a relief. Malika,
Yeah.
I think you're on mute.
I'm on mute.
Sounds like
That
such a relief to
happens.
just come back and feel like, okay, we can get back to work. What were you going to say, Malika? I saw you talking.
Oh, sorry. I had a truck outside, so I muted myself. See, when you're live. Apologies for that. Yeah, but I agree with Angeline. That is such a relief, and it's great to hear a good story.
Yeah, and being a fitness thing, it's so nice to actually do fitness. I find the days when I don't do anything active, I just feel so much kind of lower and not as enthusiastic or positive about stuff. And I just find having a workout space to come when you leave, you just leave with a clearer mind. You can kind of make better decisions about everything moving forward. You might be a little more positive, just have a little more energy to give to the rest of your life. So I think that that's been really nice to have everybody be able to come in and have that space to get a good workout in, and then figure out how the rest of their day is going to function from there.
As a business owner, I'm wondering that I would imagine that you feel so responsible for so many people, so responsible for the people that work for you, the people that come in. And how has that been for you? And now moving forward, how does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, so this is my first business that I've started. So I kind of didn't really think about that going into it. But now it's like an extended family, really. Like it's like extra, I've got my kids to worry about, but then I have my staff too, and making sure that everybody, are they getting their unemployment? Are they not getting unemployment? Like, how are they making their payments? Are they all doing okay? Is anyone, we've had some that have gone back to the mainland for different things and had different family issues come up. So it's definitely, I don't know, we're really close. It's a small group. So I feel like there's a lot more than just the day-to-day work. It's, we're involved with each other's lives and being supportive. So yeah, it's all that. And then trying to keep everybody safe with this. I feel like right now I do feel pretty good, and I know tourists will need to come back in. So I know that that's kind of all going to change over the next few months. So just also kind of thinking long term of how to keep everybody safe, like what's the best protocols we can do for keeping the studio super clean, disinfected, keeping everybody spaced apart so that we're not spreading germs when, maybe there are more people coming in to expose us to that. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff, and the other funny thing is too, you need to think so far out because so many of the supplies are so back ordered. So trying to find anything that you need to place orders. I think I ordered some hand sanitizer at the beginning, and it took almost 2 to 3 months. I'm still waiting for the dispensers, the wall dispensers that I ordered. I don't know where they are, but I ordered those about 4 months ago, it seems like at this point. Yeah.
Unemployment wise, did you, as a, what do they call you? I guess an independent, a business owner, were you also able to take advantage of the pandemic unemployment assistance or any of your employees with unemployment?
So I think a few of them have gotten it, but I know that some of them are still waiting. It's still saying pending for them. I know that I couldn't qualify for it, so I haven't really had the experience with going through the application process, but I do know that it's been so tough for everybody to kind of navigate that. And even applying for the loans was a lot. I know we missed out on that first round, but then we're able to get it when it came through the second time, which was really helpful. But yeah, I know a few of them have gotten it, but it's definitely been a challenge. And I know a lot of our clients too, so many are resort employees who have also gotten that. So it'll be interesting to see kind of when that starts to slow down or run out, what everybody's, what is a necessary purchase and what is not a necessary purchase.
I'm wondering, as a business owner, the PPP, was that difficult for you to navigate? Because I know for some people just having to get people on, and then were your employees going to come back? And there's a lot of timeline issues. And I think some people, just ordinary people who don't have businesses, don't know what it's like for the business owner to take on this loan, thinking like everyone's going to come back. And then some people aren't coming back. And then, are we running out of time to use the PPP and all of that? So what has that been like for you to navigate that?
Yeah, I know, and actually I need to re-look into this again because I know originally it was, I think it may still be this way that you're supposed to use it all within 8 weeks of receiving it, which will start to be coming up on really soon. But we won't have used the whole amount. I know that they had passed through extending that timeline out to 24 weeks, I believe, and also having more of it be able to go towards rent and utilities.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of operating under that. I think that's going to go through this point because I don't want to just like burn through it all. It's just that would not be helpful. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that all works out to that longer timeline.
Yeah, it got extended. So
okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that was going to be my next question to you. Was how does it feel to know that that's been extended?
Yeah, it just makes so much more sense. Like to have to use that all when everything was fully shut down just made no sense to, I mean, it made sense to have people still receiving their paychecks, but for the business side, once I burn through it, then how would I be paying them to teach classes? So it helps me keep the business going so that I can employ them for the long term.
Is there anything that you think people would find surprising about the experience, or do you have any advice for other business owners?
I think just a lot of follow up. I know we reached out to the bank many times and just constantly were following up with them and not waiting for them to get back to us necessarily, because I just know that I'm sure they had millions of applications on their desks. So just really staying on top of it there. And then I think just working as hard as you can at this point to try and keep everything going and getting new people in our doors and having new people come experience the workout at this point is going to be beneficial for us in the long term to start to reach out to more of our local community. And I know we're a newer workout that a lot of people haven't experienced before. So that's kind of our new focus. We're totally shifting to becoming that community that the local Maui community can come take part of. And then when our tourism comes back, we'll be in a really good position moving forward.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, Jessica. It was nice to check in. Mama
Thank you,
3.
Jessica.
And where do you live then? Do you live in Wailea?
We're down in Wailea right now, but actually we are moving up to the North Shore. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I'm actually doing some painting on our new house right now. I'm sitting in the bathroom while everyone's doing construction.
Congratulations on your new house.
Yeah, so that'll be good. We'll feel a little more settled at that point.
Well, good luck with the move. Thank you so much. And we wish you the best with moving forward. It has been so nice to hear so many businesses shifting and putting that focus on the kama'aina, So it's nice to hear that.
Yeah, we'll have to get you two in the studio soon.
Sounds great.
That's it. All right. Where are you zooming off to now?
What's that?
Where are you zooming off to now?
I'm gonna go take some windows for painting. I'm just gonna go in the room next door.
Very focused, Mama.
Actually, excitement. My daughter's doing gymnastics class this afternoon, so there's some more normal life coming back in. Which is great.
Normal life, yay.
All right, well, we'll see ya. Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica. Nice to meet you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
It's really a thing for business owners right now. We feel like we're coming out of that, just like Jessica was saying, and there's still more to deal with. And so we're really fortunate that we have the PPP, that's extended. I know for my husband, it feels like a little bit of relief, but there's just so much unknown still. And so I'm just thankful that she was able to share with us to give us insight of how that happened for her. And we know a lot of you out there who are business owners and moms are probably feeling the same thing. So there are many other stories about unemployment. And I know, Malika, you had some stories that you saw on your Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually did a question. So people wrote into me with some of their experiences, and one of them that stood out, she wanted to remain anonymous. I asked her if she would come on the show and you know,
Understandably.
yeah, it's understandable that some people just don't want, it's very private, this type of
Hmm.
information. And so she was talking about how fortunately her husband is still working. So they're able to kind of, not get too much into their savings, but they are still living off of their savings. Um, and she calls and she emails unemployment when she can, but she has kids. And so, just that alone is just so frustrating when you can't get through. She said she's been paid once, and the rest of the time she hasn't gotten it. She has two children, and so what they've been doing is they have been going to eat the free breakfast and lunch at the schools, since that's open to everyone. You don't have to be a student at that school in order to benefit from the free lunch and breakfast program. And she's saying that that is such a great resource that is available to kids in the community and families. And she's saying that she's doing okay. She knows that a lot of people aren't. And that was basically the gist of what she had to share. But I mean, I've heard that a lot. I know initially too, when they really didn't have it dialed in with the meals, there were families that were turned away. And, you know, it's tricky when you're unemployed and, like Jessica was saying, choosing between rent, or actually I think it was Nicole that was saying that, right? Choosing between rent and food.
Hmm.
I mean, gosh, I feel like we're so lucky that the two of us haven't had to make a decision like that, but there are many mothers here on Maui that have to make that decision. It makes me want to cry right now to know that these are our friends and our family members, so we're so thankful to all of those that are helping to put food in our friends and families' bellies, during this
Hmm.
difficult time. I don't know if you've heard any stories about similar to that, or people that haven't gotten unemployment at all.
Well, I was worried for myself that I didn't get unemployment, but there are other people that have not been able to, and the frustration of trying to call. I've heard about that, where, you call and try to email, and it's a dire need where people are, literally, yeah, starving, and also just to know where to go to get food. Um, and then once you go, it's some people's first time to ever feel that experience of going to wait in a line. I mean, we should not feel shameful because we're all in this situation together, but I know some of you are a little embarrassed. But it's okay, because we know it's not because you are not trying to work or anything like that, but I know that it's a really hard time. So I have heard a lot of frustration, seen a lot of feelings around it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice that to know that there's the Maui Food Bank, and there's all these people who are really coming forward to help, because we need that, and we also need to know where to get the help. So
Yeah, well,
it's
Auntie
it's really
Kamiki was talking
important.
about that, right? That a lot of the people that they're helping are shame, and so they don't come and ask for help, and that she was encouraging people to not feel that shame, and that if you need the help, come get the help, because the help is available. And it is sometimes a bit difficult to find where the help is, especially when it comes to food. A good resource for everyone is the Maui Food Bank website, mauifoodbank.org. The Maui Food Bank is really the hub of where most of these organizations get their food. So when you donate to the Maui Food Bank, they go out, they were getting a lot of food from restaurants and from grocery stores before the coronavirus. Once the coronavirus happened and the restaurants closed, they were no longer getting that. And the grocery stores have such a difficult time just keeping things on the shelves that they don't have the time now to set out the stuff that is meant for the Maui Food Bank. And so the Maui Food Bank right now, the number one thing you can do is donate. So if you are in a position to be able to donate to help those that are in need, we would like to cover the spectrum, right? if you donate to the Maui Food Bank, that's what they need. They need the money because they actually have to go and purchase food.
Oh.
They purchase bulk food. They have it at the Maui Food Bank. Then the organizations come in and they shop for their food. It's free food for the organizations, usually churches or other organizations that we've already talked about in past shows. And then they take the food and either they're going to make boxes for people or they'll make meals and they'll deliver them to people. So that's what Nicole does with Chili on Wheels. So I met her, you know, in the giant refrigerator where she was getting what she needed in order to create those meals. So that is definitely a great resource for those that are unemployed and seeking assistance when it comes to meals. Can you hear
And
my
it's also
children
good
yelling?
I can, but that's okay. We know you're a mom. It's natural to have.
Be quiet. We're on a show. No, be quiet. Please.
That's how it goes when you're a mom.
No wonder they yell. Look at her. Oh my God.
Well, everyone, all the you moms, you get it. That's how it would be in your house too, right?
Yeah.
So what I was going to say was that, you know, this is really important to know for people who want to donate too, because there was a mom that I saw who wanted to donate, but she didn't really know where to go, what would be the best place. So really, that's, Malika, that's such helpful information because we know that that money is going to go to, you know, wherever it needs to go.
Yeah.
So the Maui Food Bank.
Mm-hmm. It's a great resource. Okay, I have some other things that people sent in. So one story not being told is about non-American citizens who pay taxes, but they aren't able to get unemployment. So this was one that I tried hard to get someone to talk about it, but it didn't come through. So I thought I would mention it anyway, because that definitely wasn't on my radar.
Right.
You know, that a non-citizen here living on Maui has been here for a while, but pays taxes, but they're not able to clearly get the unemployment insurance. I mean, I wasn't able to get unemployment insurance either because, you know, if you're not working for a business, but if you have your own company or whatever, you can't get the pandemic unemployment assistance. And I'm not sure if this is for both because you're not a citizen that you wouldn't get unemployment no matter what, or I don't know, but it just sounds like such a crazy problem. My mother is an immigrant and, you know, I think when I was like 18, she finally decided to go get her American citizenship and she did it. But I was just thinking like, oh gosh, if this had happened back then, she would have been in that same boat where she works at the University of Hawaii at Hilo and she doesn't qualify for unemployment. So anyway, it was just an issue that kind of popped up and I thought, wow, I'm going to mention that just because it's something that I don't think has been on people's radar. You know, there's the numbers that we see of unemployment are very high, but they're actually much higher.
Wow.
You know, we've already heard also from Nicole talking about that there's a lot of people with non-traditional jobs. We know that a lot of moms do the, you know, whether it's like DIY stuff that they make or, you know, services that they do and it's quote unquote under the table. And so clearly that kind of stuff does not qualify for unemployment, but they are unemployed. Mm-hmm. They're not able to work and do what they usually would to get money to pay rent and feed their children, you know? And so when you think about the unemployment numbers, we need to broaden our horizons to know that it's not just that number.
Mm-hmm. Wow, there are a lot of people under that unknown category, definitely. Mm-hmm. That is so interesting that even though the people from the immigrants are paying taxes, I mean, they're not getting any benefit. So it is really a tough time for so many people. And, you know, do you have any other stories or what's your experience with your own situation?
Well, mine was pretty interesting because I was along with everyone. I was covering the pandemic on my Instagram, but also along with everyone on that journey because I lost my job about 2 to 3 weeks in, maybe, yeah, around there. Around March 23rd is when I lost my job. I was laid off. I got a letter from my boss. And so I did what everybody else did at the time, which they were telling us to do, which was to apply for unemployment insurance. We all did that. And then the pandemic unemployment assistance, the guidelines were revealed. And basically they were like, oh yeah, you don't qualify for that system. So we all had to get a letter back that said denied. And then in fact, it felt kind of like, oh, well, why do we do that? You know, that was such a waste of time and all that. In fact, that is a precursor. You have to have that, a prerequisite. You have to have the denied from UI in order to move on to PUA anyway. And so the part that was a lot of wasted time was the calling. You know, I mean, I called and called and called and called and called and called and emailed and did everything that everybody else was doing. I eventually got in, this is before people knew that they were open on a Saturday. So someone gave me the tip and I didn't tell anybody. And then I called and then I told everybody. Sorry. Sorry, guys.
You got to get in though.
Yeah. And so I got in and they were so helpful. I mean, like answered all my questions, put in my back date, you know, stuff, but it was under unemployment insurance. And so it didn't matter. Like the whole call was all for naught, got denied. PUA came up. PUA has been so much easier to deal with. The website is fast. There's no issues, but a lot of people were running into the back pay issue. So what I mean by that is, especially if you had, what it felt like was if you had gotten in early. So in those initial 2 or 3 days that the pandemic PUA website went up, a lot of people had backdating issues. So basically they started paying you middle of April, but you were supposed to be paid from March, that thing. Oh. So now it started all over again. We got to email the backdating website. We got to call and all of that. I gave up on calling. I was just like, whatever. I mean, at least I'm getting paid for, you know, now, and backdate, like when you guys get to it kind of a thing.
I better check if I got backdated or not. I don't even know.
Yeah,
I was happy to get anything.
I emailed. So I would recommend, if that's your situation, that you email the backdating email. But it was just recently, maybe like 3 or 4 days ago, within the last week, that backdating all came through, and it all came through at once. So mine hasn't been paid out yet, but it's saying payment in progress, and it's for 3 weeks. The first week, March 23rd week, did not have the federal money, the CARES Act money. So it was just the unemployment assistance. And then from, I guess, the first week of April, or the very last week of March is when the extra $600 a week comes in. So yeah, it has been a journey. It has been a roller coaster. But for me, fortunately, right now, because of the CARES money, I'm actually getting paid more than I was at my job, you know, and that's through the end of July. And so, you know, I'm feeling pretty good about doing volunteer work like this, volunteer job, you know, and just staying busy and, you know, being a mom and being in school. And I kind of feel like I'm getting paid to do fun things right
Isn't that
now.
nice though?
It is. But I have heard issues with that, with some companies dealing with people not wanting to come back to work because they do feel, you know, comfortable at home. The thing is though, you need to watch out for that, because if you're under the UI system, the unemployment, the normal, you know, unemployment system, if your employer notifies the unemployment office, Department of Labor and Industrial Relations, I think it's called. If they notify them, then you could be in trouble for collecting unemployment if you were offered a job.
Right. That's where my husband is straddling that so that he doesn't get his workers in trouble. It's like he's holding off, but then he was looking at the PPP like, okay, that deadline is coming up, and then that's where the relief came. It was like, oh, when it was extended, now I don't have to call them back. I can wait. So straddling that whole situation has been a thing because he wants to be good to his workers. He wants to have them do what they want as far as getting their unemployment and
Mhm.
riding that out in a sense. But then he does need workers too. So,
Right. I mean,
you
and
know.
there could be legal issues there, right? And so it's kind of tough. In Hawaii. I feel like it's probably different on the mainland where they wouldn't even consider, like your feelings about like being home with your family and getting paid to do that, right? But in Hawaii, employers actually think that way. They're like, okay, well, how do I manage this so that as we move forward, I know I'm not going to be able to pay my employee as much as they're getting on unemployment. So I'm going to hold off a little bit because, you know what I mean? Like there's this
Hmm.
thought process, I think, that perhaps, might not be, it might be unique to Hawaii. Who knows? But I have that sense from just because of the aloha spirit here, and people, that's what people do. They think about
Hmm.
others, they make decisions based on other people's feelings
And relationships that you
and
have with
relationships. Yeah.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine message and said, just got paid today, all of my back pay since I originally filed my claim on March 21st. So there was the opposite, which
Whew.
was the people that kind of like, they were like, I don't qualify. And they didn't do nothing. They didn't do anything. And
Hmm.
then, and because they got denied. And then they're like, oh, maybe I should try for that PUA thing, a couple weeks in. And they apply. And basically on day one, once they get approved, they end up getting all automatic into their bank account 8 weeks of pay. And so
Wow.
you feel like you've won the lottery. No,
Wow. Yeah. A
like
lump sum.
$8,000 all at once. And so I think that's what she's kind of talking about. And some people still processing. Some people haven't even gotten paid. Some people, mine's been consistent and smooth. And um, yeah, not paid yet. Faxed my W-2 to prove all my wages. Nothing yet. Not just haven't heard zip. So, it really runs the gamut. It runs the gamut from people that are still struggling to get through. And then people who are like, I feel good.
Yeah. We'll see how this. We're looking into the future, and there's so many unknowns still about tourism, the economy, how things are going to go, whether we will. I mean, just for our family situation, whether we will have income or not based on tourism. So I think a lot of people are holding their breath, looking at that. Okay, the quarantine for Inner Island is going to be over, and then when are we going to open up to the rest of the world?
Mm-hmm.
There's that fear, but then we kind of need the money,
Yeah.
all of that happening.
A lot of people were really excited about the inter-island quarantine being lifted, that would bring in Kama'aina travel and business, and Kama'aina is helping other Kama'aina,
Hmm.
one thing today, actually, someone messaged me and said, hey, so I'm trying to rent a place on another island. I thought I would island hop. The government's like encouraging Kama'aina to support other Kama'aina, and the vacation rentals are still illegal. And
Right.
so
How?
that was an interesting thing because I thought to myself, gosh, maybe this should be put on the radar that vacation rentals can only be rented to Kama'aina. But I don't know, that might be discriminatory, so there might be like a legal issue with that. But right now, I mean, basically it would make sense for Kama'aina to be able to rent out somebody's home or somebody's room or whatever it is. You know what I
And
mean?
that would feed those families that are not getting those
Mm-hmm.
months that they couldn't have somebody in their rental.
Yep. And the
So
hotels are expensive.
they are.
Yep, I just looked into it and they're still expensive. I mean, well, I don't know. To me, like $200 is expensive for one night. We know that Wailea is crazy.
Hmm. And you can get a vacation rental for less than that.
Oh, you can definitely.
So
Yeah.
you'd be feeding the economy, the residents who, I mean, the short-term rental people who really need the money, and then those people can travel and be able to have a vacation.
Yep.
So,
But it's not
yes, let's.
possible.
Well,
You know, the government's trying to catch up just like all of us, right? I
hmm,
mean, so much uncertainty, and they're trying to do what they can, and just some things fall through the cracks. And who knows, maybe they did talk this out and it was like, oh, no, there's a legal issue. It's discriminatory to do that. We're just going to keep them shut down because until the end of the domestic quarantine, who knows, right? But it was something that popped up today. And I thought, oh, you know what? That's a really good point. It's a really good point that that's not very encouraging to a Kamina. You know, if I want to go to Kauai, I would love to rent out a short-term rental. I'm not going to stay there for a month, you know, like maybe
right.
4 or 5 days, but that's illegal right now. And so I'm going to have to stay at whatever hotel is open. Which ones are even open? Is the Principal open? Well, the Principal's kind of expensive, you know? So now I'm like, okay, well, I mean, should I go over there and camp? Is that legal? Like, where is it legal? You know what I mean? There's just so many questions. And so I just thought that was interesting. But
Yeah, I feel differently about hotels because with social distancing, for me, I feel like it would be easier to social distance if I were in a home. And I would,
that's the whole point that they're trying to make, the vacation rental like
yeah,
industry. And I feel I'm on the fence about vacation rentals and short-term rentals opening, um, just because I feel like that's also a way that people are getting out of the 14-day quarantine, the ones that need to be quarantining.
hmm.
Um, so there's probably it's complicated.
Yes, it's like relationships. It's
Yeah,
complicated
yeah.
when you don't have a definitive answer.
I definitely agree with you. Like, I think it makes sense from a social distancing perspective. It definitely makes sense that you would rather be in a home, separating yourself from others, than go to a hotel. And it's actually something that's deterring me from wanting to go to a neighbor island, because I don't know if I want to be at a hotel where there could be visitors that are quarantining,
There
you
could
know?
be, and then the things that you pay for are like the pool, the open space, the shared spaces. I mean, that's what you pay for when you go to a hotel to enjoy those.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't, I wouldn't personally want to be doing that now.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like my money would be like sort of wasted. I'm not saying anybody who does that, you're wasted. It's just my kind of feeling. So
Yeah.
personally, I would just want to spend a little less and have more space around me.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well, we could probably talk about unemployment until the sun goes down, but maybe we should wrap the show up.
We should.
um, so today's show, of course, was on unemployment. We want to say mahalo to Nicole and Jessica for being a part of the show. Thank you,
Thank you,
ladies.
ladies.
And we're ending the show with our Healthy at Home challenge. And you got an amazing prize for everyone.
Thank you to Gina Nalawai at Ho'omana Spa for gifting this 50-minute massage, Lomi Lomi, at this beautiful spa in Olinda. I've been there, you've been there, Malika. It's such a treat. And after what we've been through, a lot of stress, anxiety, to just be able to relax and enjoy and be nurtured.
We'll announce our winner last. We want to keep you guys hanging. Come on now. We want to talk about next week and what the giveaway is for next week. And then we'll end our show like we usually do. We'll announce the winner, and then we'll just roll into showing all of our mamas that entered the Healthy at Home challenge. Do you remember some of the things that they sent in?
There were so many. I was just so impressed with there's such a variety of what people were showing. And, from workouts to what they do outside with their families to how they eat. So, I mean, just so many amazing entries. And thank you so much for showing us beautiful pictures and video of your family. I love to see that.
Yeah, gardening, workouts, cooking, lots of cooking. So those will be topics on future shows. So
For sure.
worry not. So next week, of course, we'll have our Actions of Aloha. We love to feature those people doing great things in the community. Our topic will be summertime. So that could mean a lot of things. So tune in so you can be a part of that. And if you want to be a part of the show, we would love for you to be a part of the show. So just watch out on the Maui Mommy's main Facebook group page, or my page, Malika Dudley, or the Maui Mama magazine page, and we'll be asking for submissions. And of course, we want you to submit for our next giveaway, which is jewelry from Le Kualani Jewelry. And she is giving away, it's at least 4 pairs of earrings, potentially 5. She keeps sending me photos. So
wow, lucky.
Right. Yeah, and all you have to do is enter our #summertime challenge. And what are you doing during the summer? Just
easy.
Send a picture, a video. We'll have all the details on how you can enter on the page. So make sure you check that out, and we would love for you to do that. Okay, so now, are you ready? Kaylin! She is a Pukalani mama. And as my kids yell in the back, that was
yes,
their
I can
drum roll.
hear them.
Did you hear the drum roll?
Yes.
Is Kaylin. She said that she's been doing yard work to stay healthy at home. So much of it, but loving the opportunity and the results. So congratulations.
Congratulations, Kaylin. And you're a real mom. We can hear it.
Oh my gosh. I mean, no judgment, but it's okay if you're judging me and going, she's a bad mom. Can you guys hold off on the yelling for like 30 more seconds?
It's okay.
I'm gonna mute myself. Why don't you lead us out?
Okay. Well, thank you for submitting your healthy at homes and for the challenge, and we leave you with all of your beautiful videos. See you next week.
We were young and we were free and running, never bothered about what could be coming. Every day we danced and life was smiling. We were young and drunk in love. A few years later I started thinking, if it's just love in every glass I'm drinking, we're like one.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Oh, you and I, we got it. Oh, we don't need no more. Even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm. Before I sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon. Side by side and through. No limit to what we can do. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.